All right, hello to my beloved brand. I am sitting here with a new friend of mine. Can I call you a friend?
I assume so. I think we talked long enough when we met that I think we're a little bit more than acquaintances at this point.
Yeah, and not only that, bro, you're blowing up my text. You're bugging the shit out of me, and only friends do that, bro. Only friends do that,
I'm sorry
bro.
about
What are you
that. I
hanging up?
lost.
You're hanging up on me already, bro.
I blame it on the snow front here in Pittsburgh.
All right, listen. This is Sam Adonis. And, Sam, listen, I don't want to be forthcoming or anything like that, but I've been watching wrestling for a very, very long time, a very, very long time, bro. Maybe since before you were even born. Okay. And about 2 weeks ago, bro, I go to do this show for my good friend Manny Lemons in Utah, Devotional Championship Wrestling. And I see this guy walking in the building. Now, listen, I got to tell you, Sam, I am still a believer in the it factor. I mean, I had to make a career, basing a lot of things on the it factor in the wrestling business. When somebody had it, I just knew it, bro. And I think a lot of it, Sam, has to do with the way somebody carries themselves. Bro, when somebody walks in a room and all attention go to them, you just this person is somebody. So when I met you that night, when you walked in the room, I felt your presence. I looked at you and I said to myself, bro, I swear to God, this is a star. This guy's got the it factor. But like a question I also had, Sam, was why didn't I know you? Like, how come I had no idea who Sam Adonis was? You walk in the door, bro. You look like a star. Yes, you act like a star. I see you in the ring. You've been around the block. You know what you're doing. I'm watching you, and I'm like, why this guy isn't on TV? I don't understand. Bro, where have you been all my life, Sam? You got to explain that to me. 30 years old, bro. Like not even, you haven't even reached your prime yet. Bro, how come I didn't know you?
Well, I think that's quite the loaded question because you probably could figure out a lot of answers by yourself. I, like you, kind of grew up in the wrestling business. My dad was a promoter. My older brother is Corey Graves from WWE, which is probably another thing that I should be more well known than I am. But I think as a whole, the business is a lot different than it used to be. I think it's like it's developed in a direction that most people can't follow at all. I've spent most of my time internationally. When I had a WWE contract in 2012 and I got released because I was a child and I was drunk every day and I couldn't exactly handle that responsibility. But since then I went to Europe and Mexico and mainly Japan where I've been able to work. But I think a lot of the professional wrestling culture now is based on trends. It's based on the fear of missing out. I think most wrestling fans in 2019 are not necessarily the fans of good wrestling. They're fans of themselves. They're fans of the adulation and the attention they get for playing along and feeling part of the wrestling community, if you will. I say all the time that in 1985, every wrestling fan wanted to be Hulk Hogan. In 2019, every wrestling fan wants to be Dave Meltzer. And these are the people that
have you seen Meltzer like close up? Do you really want to? You believe people really want to be that guy, bro? He's got the balloon nose, bro. He's got the Dumbo ears. People want to be that guy, bro.
I actually like Dave. I get along with him really well, so that's not the issue. I mean, they don't want to better themselves and become performers. They don't want to be the stars. They don't want to be. They we're in a world now where there's no people don't have any ramifications for not bettering themselves. It's okay to sit on your butt and say, well, I could never be a superstar, so I'll just be a critic. And I've kind of flown under the radar because, which is weird. It's funny, in 2019, I'm probably paid better than most independent wrestlers with 10 times the Twitter followers than I am. because I worked professionally. I worked for companies that want to pay. I've never had to take pay cuts and go, work for an opportunity for a tryout, because, to go from WWE to British wrestling, Brian Dixon and All-Star Wrestling, to go into CMLL in Mexico, and now for All Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm working in some of these places that are, the oldest, best companies on the planet. But because, it's not trendy, it's not tied into the Twitter market, these people aren't exactly, tuned in with the viral marketing or the gifts and placating to the internet audience. I've flown under the radar, so.
Well, Sam, let's get back to, because one of the things you told me, because I was really trying to figure this thing out, because I'm like, man, I was the head writer for a lot of companies, and this guy would have been on my freaking roster like in a heartbeat. So I really try to figure things out and make sense out of a lot of things. And Sam, let's face it, in wrestling, there are a lot of things you can't make sense out of. But when we go back to that tryout at the WWE, I know you were very young. You were in your 30s. But bro, literally, I want to get into that a little bit. What exactly did you do, bro? Like you said, mistakes were made. You were very young. And then you mentioned, oh, by the way, drunk. Like, bro, you didn't literally show up to freaking camp drunk, did you, bro?
It wasn't that bad, no. I basically, I was 20 years old. I was going to college to be a police officer up here in Pittsburgh, and I got my dream job, a WWE contract in FCW. So literally moving to Tampa, Florida, my first apartment by myself, basically growing up in a hurry. So, I turned 21, started hitting the bars in Tampa, hanging out with the boys, and I really never backed up my talk, if that makes sense, because nobody would argue that I don't know my shit about the history of wrestling and, where it comes from, where it's going. Mexico, Japan, 70s territories. I pay attention. I love the game. I love the history. And, I kind of came in with a chip on my shoulder thinking, hey, I'm 21. I'm going to set this place on fire. And I learned very quickly that that's not the place you can set on fire.
Hold on, Sam. Hold on for a second, because I don't care how much of a fan you were. Bro, did you really have a chip on your shoulder, or did you not understand the etiquette? Because I don't know, bro. Listen, you got to be in the business to understand the etiquette, bro. You know the etiquette. We got to shake everybody's hand. You know the bullshit that goes along with it. But bro, at 21 years old, walking into the door, how could you possibly know that?
Well, exactly. I knew the etiquette to a regional level. I knew it, to the best of my knowledge, on a local independent level up in the Pittsburgh area, or, traveling to certain, indie shows with my brother. And that's the extent of it. I didn't know the full blown WWE machine etiquette. I didn't know how to play it. It's literally, a Shark Tank. And there's, this is a big difference from going to a, local independent show of 300 people to working for the biggest, entertainment company on the planet. So yeah, I made little mistakes. You speak when you're not supposed to. You forget to do one little thing, and I can't blame it on the political structure. I can't blame it on the system, because the system's been there. It's always going to be there. I just wasn't prepared, But at the same time, I don't regret it. I think the best thing that's ever happened in my life was being released, because since my release, I've gone on to really, have some fun and success around the world. And, basically, from my take, I've always been such a big fan of Mexican and Japanese wrestling anyway, that to be able to, go and headline Arena Mexico and go and headline Cork and Hall of Japan, that's something that I would have missed out on had I succeeded in the beginning of WWE. So,
Sam, this is what I don't agree with the system. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is what I don't agree with. And you be honest back. When these, people like you're given a developmental contract, bro, and you walk in the door. See, to me, bro, I think their mindset is ass backwards, and it wouldn't be my mindset. I think they are looking for any opportunity to fail you. I think they are looking for, like, you make that one mistake. Oh, bro, that's it. And to me, if 10 guys like you are walking in the door, bro, I am going to take for granted these guys are young, they are immature, they don't know any better, they don't know how the process works. They have to grow up. Do they have the capacity to do that? That's what I'm looking at, bro. I'm not looking to cut heads as soon as somebody says the wrong thing. And I feel a lot of times that's what they look to do.
Well, I can't speak for how it is now. I think it definitely was like that a little bit back when I was there. However, I think there was a bit of a double standard. And this is kind of where, it irked me a little bit because, we, us wrestling guys, quote unquote, the guys that loved the business and gave it all to the business, we were the ones on eggshells. We were the ones that couldn't make the mistakes because they knew we wanted to be there. And then all of a sudden, when a football player or an actor comes in that has no desire to be there whatsoever, has no idea who Dusty Rhodes was, kayfabe's everywhere and just, skips out so he can get to the beach quicker, they can make mistake after mistake after mistake, and the machine wants them because they're invested in them. There was a bit of a double standard where, oh, wait, you want to be here? Okay, well, you have to stay after and clean up the production equipment. You have to sweep this place tonight. So I definitely think they were looking for reason to fail us, but again, I hold no ill will because I was 21 in Tampa, and at the end of the day, most of my opportunity as an independent has come from the fact that I've had that 1 year tenure with WWE on my, resume.
Yeah. Well, so Sam, what did they tell you? Like, you're at the end of the camp. What did they tell you?
This wasn't a camp. I had a full-blown contract. I came to FCW 5 days a week and worked for them.
So
we had a show on a Friday, and by this point I was pretty much emotionally despondent as it was. I had a knee surgery I'd just come back from. I was overweight, out of shape. I wasn't exactly enjoying my time. So I was driving to one of the cities in Florida, and I ended up getting a phone call while I was in BP, and it was Johnny Ace, and he said to me, "Hey man, we're gonna have to go ahead and get rid of you." He says, "This isn't a goodbye. This is a see you later." He says, "You're a young kid. You got a lot of life to live. And if it's right for you, you will be back." And I think, since then, I don't think a lot of people, especially a lot of the guys that have been released that I was there with, I don't think there's too many others that have gone out and done what I've done in the wrestling business, So,
well, let's talk about that, Sam, for a minute, because you're absolutely right, bro. Listen, come on. 80% of the people would have thrown in the towel at that point. I mean, they just would have. It's like you were there and then it's taken away. The reality of it is, could I ever get there again? So, you went your own route, but I want to know, bro, what was it about you that prevented you from throwing in the towel? Because, bro, a lot of other people, their confidence would have been shot.
Well, I was a fat kid, so I was a heavy set kid as growing up, and I almost feel like wrestling was just like made for me. It wasn't necessarily like a choice; it was just what I did. It's what I grew up with. It was. I think it was more or less just the outweighing the other options. And no, well, shoot, I'm 21 years old. There's no reason, I almost looked at that whole contract as like a fluke, I somehow passed the test and got accepted into the pros, and I don't think, I think there was so much more out there for me. I think there was something special about the fact that I just so happened to be 6'4". I just so happened to be 250 pounds. I just so happened to be, cartoonish in manner every day of my life. I knew that, just because Walmart doesn't want to sell your product yet doesn't mean people don't want to buy your product, and I knew
now that, bro, I got to be honest with you. See, now there's some conflicting stories now, because for you to say that, bro, that takes a level of maturity. That really takes a level that doesn't sound to me like an immature kid. That thought process takes a level of maturity, bro.
Well, I always say the biggest thing, the product, the reason why I'm not, a big star on TV right now is because the system is too big. I honestly believe had I had some other opportunities to sit down with some of the big bosses and wrestlers and explain my thought process, they might have taken me as an actual asset. They might have said, holy cow, this kid's a bit beyond his depth here. Maybe he knows what he's talking about. But it's a big system. There was a million guys running through there, and they had their priorities. I don't think half the coaches that were there when I was there are even with the company anymore. So it's a never-ending wheel of chaos, if you will, as far as talent and producers go in there. So I just it never bothered me that I didn't make it, but I also think maybe a little bit of it did, and maybe that's what made me work so hard, because I know what I can't do. I know that they're throwing opportunities at guys that can't do what I can do. I know that they're favoring guys that can't do what I can do. And, again, I think you probably can agree that every wrestler needs a certain amount of ego to keep them in this business. I'll write it down on any piece of paper, on any public forum in the world. There's not many wrestlers on the planet that can do what I can do as far as move a crowd and entertain the masses. So, having that taken away from me, it was a bit spiteful. It was almost like, okay, fine. You want to get rid of me now, you'll pay later.
Yeah.
So it has been a motivation. And again, I've done a lot in this business at this point, so I don't have any regrets over anything. I think it was a great experience. And I don't know. I think, one day I will end up back there. My brother's a goddamn commentator,
Yeah, bro, let's talk about that for a second, because this blew me away, bro. Me and you are having this long conversation, and bro, it was, we were into the conversation for a while, and then it was kind of, oh, by the way, my brother's Corey Graves. Bro, you gotta explain this to me. Your brother is Corey. Now, bro, I gotta tell you, your brother has some heat with me, bro. And it's as simple as this. I was watching a Monday Night Raw. Bro, this is years ago. Bro, all I tweeted out was Corey Graves, Pee Wee Herman wants his suit back. That's all. And I thought it was funny. It was kind of, bro, he took it seriously, and I'm irrelevant, and I'm over the hill. And I'm like, bro, I'm just joking. It was a freaking joke. Regardless. Bro, how does that work that your brother is in that spot and he can't get you in that company?
Well, I'd like to think this. I'd like to think he's a smart man, my brother. And he also knows that I'm a bit of hard work.
Now, is he younger or older than you, bro? Younger or older?
He's 5 years older than me.
Okay. All right. So, again, finish your thought. Go ahead, bro.
I actually had a contract in WWE before he did. So I was hired, and then he got hired about a week before I got released, which sucked. But since then, he's kind of worked his way through the system, and I don't know. I don't really have this conversation with him because I'm happy with what I'm doing where I'm at. I've never asked him for a job. It could be something as simple as you never asked, so I never got you. Or it could be, he knows how I am. He knows.
Wait, hold on. I'm jumping in here, bro. Hold on. Are you and him tight?
Yeah, we're tight enough, like I was at his house.
Were you guys tight growing up?
Growing up, yes. But
what happened?
He trained me to be a wrestler, and then once I started wrestling, we kind of saw different paths and avenues.
Hold on.
Wrestling
let me interject here, bro. You're not being honest. Let me tell you, bro, I'm a good read of people. Here's what I'm hearing. Let me tell you what I'm reading between these lines, bro. He's 5 years older than you. He trained you how to become a wrestler. All of a sudden, I'm starting to feel like, holy shit, my younger brother may be better than me, bro. All of a sudden, I'm starting to feel like my younger brother may have more of a personality than me. Bro, maybe I need to keep a thumb over here on my younger brother, which may have kind of led to the do I know what I'm talking about, bro?
It might be something like that, but again, I don't know. I don't ever have these conversations with him. But
bro,
I think
here's the thing that this is what really bothers me, bro. Bro, your brother, I don't know. I know a little bit about him, but and again, bro, this is me with my writer's cap on. Okay, bro, your brother's career got cut short because he suffered a neck injury.
It was concussions. He had concussions.
Okay. Well, see, bro, me immediately, I'm putting on my hat, and I'm like, okay, Corey can't wrestle because of the concussions. He's got this 5-year-old younger brother that looks like $1 million. What I'm seeing immediately off my head is somebody that announced starts punking out Corey. Bro, Corey is torn. Doctors have told him he can't get in the ring again. This, that, and the other thing. All of a sudden, bro, there's a brother that looks like you. That's the part that pisses me off, bro, because that is a good story. That story makes sense. That is a no freaking brainer. Bro, throw your freaking brother a bone. I know the system, and bro, maybe there's a part of this could be twofold. Maybe there's a part of I don't want my brother to outshine me. Maybe there's the part of I don't want my brother to F up and let it be a reflection on me. But bro, at the end of the day, that's your flesh and blood, bro. I mean, come on. Am I being too harsh? I'm being honest here, bro.
I don't know, man, because I hear this everywhere I go. I hear it all the time. But I also know that I'm guilty of a lot of my own problems. I know, it could be one or the other, but, I'd like to think to this. If I ever signed with WWE again, there would be two potential outcomes. I could either get fired in about 3 weeks, or I'll be one of the biggest stars in the company. There's no middle of the road. I know this. I know I'm too experienced that, I'm either going to be a hothead that screws up and says the wrong thing to the wrong person and, then blackballed again, or I will be, a major player. And I don't think it's worth my brother putting his name on that. I think it's too risky because he's in such a good spot. So I don't know. I don't hold it against him.
Look at this risk I'm taking with my freaking reputation having you on my show. Don't give me that baloney, bro. Blood is thicker than water. You should be in that company. That should be the angle. As a matter of fact, Corey just tweeted out his after the bell gimmick. What guests do you want me to have on the show? Corey, I'm throwing my name on the hat. Have me on the show because I will have this conversation with you. This guy here, Sam, is a main eventer. Sam, I'll tell you what I like, bro. This is the road I've been going down that you and I have spoken about. Bro, I've known Nick Aldis for a very, very long time from day one at TNA, okay? So I know Nick, bro. What I love, what I see is you guys are both stature, height-wise, similar builds, can both cut a hell of a promo. But where he is like polished and royalty, you are like rough from the street. I mean, bro, I can see the two of you guys having an unbelievable program over there at NWA, bro. I mean, I think that would be absolute money.
I really like that product they're putting out there. It's got enough of the old school flavor mixed with the new school style of wrestling, which I really dig. I personally think that it's kind of dumbfounding to me because every independent company, every wrestler on the planet, they look to Mexico and Japan for their influence. Everybody's such a big fan of Mexican and Japanese style wrestling. I'm one of the only wrestlers on the planet right now that has succeeded in Mexico and is succeeding in Japan. So the fact that I'm not being featured in an American wrestling company really doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how I'm being overlooked. I don't know if I've pissed someone off.
Let's talk about this, and we need to talk about this because it's important. I have something to say that I think is important, bro. Evidently, you at a house show or something. Evidently, you said something you probably shouldn't have said in the heat of the moment.
Yes.
We're not going to get into what you said. That doesn't matter. You said something that you shouldn't have said in the heat of the moment, okay? Now, bro, I have found out since I met you that even though you told me this happened a year and a half ago, this may be preventing some people from hiring you. So, like, when we talk about you being blackballed, okay, bro, is this part of it? The guy in the heat of the moment, not thinking, said something a year and a half ago that he shouldn't have said, that he has apologized for over and over and over again. Am I right about all that?
100%. I screwed up. I kind of promo and, kind of took it too far in a direction that I put my foot in my mouth, and I have definitely, since then, been punished for it. I've lost out on bookings for it. I've, haven't been back to the UK since then. And it sucks because, A, that's not who I am as a person. And B, I feel like, I feel like I have so much to give back. You know what I mean? There's people doing way worse, and there's people out there that continue to be a part of this that deep down are terrible people, but they because they've either, covered their tracks better or never, screwed up in a public forum, they still get to give back. I feel like, again, it's something that's always going to be with me. I screwed up. You know what I mean? I'll own that.
Tim, this is why I have like such a huge problem with this. I'll tell you why, bro. Bro, I am a born again Christian. I believe in God. I love God. Okay. Bro, the very first name of my book was called Forgiven. Okay, bro. The reason why that book was called Forgiven is because I never want to forget, bro. God himself sacrificed his only son to make up for all the mistakes we made. That was the only thing that could settle the score, because every single one of us were born sinners. We make mistakes. We make wrong decisions. And the only way God could make that right was by sacrificing his own son, who was perfect. So like that, what that is telling me is God Almighty forgave us for all my sins. But yet, as human beings, bro, as human beings, we are so hesitant to forgive and give people a second chance and realize, okay, bro, he's human like you and me. He made a mistake. You know what? I'm going to make a mistake one day. And when I make a mistake one day, I'm going to depend on people to forgive me. And bro, it pisses me off when we're all human, bro. We're all going to make mistakes. And then you make a mistake and that mistake is going to be held against you for years. No matter how many times you apologize, no matter how many times you attempt to make it right, bro, I'm just tired of that shit. I am tired of that shit. We all have done things that we regret, bro.
For sure. It's definitely, again, like I said, I screwed up, and it sucks because I feel like I have a lot to give the other people. Wrestling, especially in my opinion, as a heel, it's very selfless. I sacrifice merch money. I sacrifice Twitter followers. I sacrifice being the cool guy on the show to get XYZ babyface over. It's selfless. We really do it for the love of the game and for the people, to send them home happy, because I know I will send the audience home happy when Manny Lemons beats me, as opposed to me beating Manny Lemons, so whatever. The being a heel is selfless, and it sucks because I feel like I have that to give to people. I can give back and make people, remember watching Sam Adonis wrestle, and I'd really like, it to kind of, branch out and get me to more independence or more well-known in the United States. But I understand, it's not just professional wrestling. It's any walk of life today. Everybody's so angry all the time. And, you just have to walk on eggshells anytime. If this is what I have, this is my cross to bear. I screwed up, that's fine. But it is just going to make me work a little bit harder, because, not Dominic DeNucci, Pedro Morales said to Bret Hart, and Bret Hart wrote it down in his book. He says, you can't stop talent, and I truly believe that. I truly believe that, there's something in me, in my performance, in my passion that, one day the world's going to see. And it might take a little longer now because I screwed up along the way. But, if it was really that, if it was really able to be held against me, I wouldn't be as busy as I am. There's a lot of great promoters out there. There's a lot of great people out there that understand, like you said, they give me a second chance. They're not, harboring hatred against me, and these are the people that are having, great success by using me. I still go to All Japan Pro Wrestling. I still work in Mexico. They're happy to, give me the opportunity because, they've seen beyond that. But, what can you do? If anything, it is just that gasoline I need to work a little bit harder, the motivation I need to make it work. I would like to think that, the people that, understand it, and the people that were offended by it, can get past it, because everything we do is for the fans. Everything we do is for the wrestling community that want to enjoy wrestling. I'm a throwback to everything you like about the Attitude Era, everything you liked about the Hogan era. I'm pro wrestling from the way it was, not the way it is. I'm a nostalgic character, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that would really get to enjoy my style of professional wrestling, but they might have never even heard my name if it wasn't for the publicity I got on the negative end of what I said in the United Kingdom. Yeah. So to be introduced as somebody in such a negative light, it is going to be hard to overcome. But look at how many famous A-list Hollywood actors are still making movies that have done 10 times worse what I've done. So I truly believe hard work pays off, and positivity is key. So.
Hey Sam, I want to put your manager over here for a second. Now, is he always a part of your act, or was that just a one-off?
MK Bandit is one of my best friends in the wrestling business, and he's my manager in probably, I'd say, at least 50% of my matches.
Because, bro, when you talk about the throwback, that's what you were just, bro, you two together were freaking phenomenal. Bro, I watched him ringside because I was in the building and I was watching him. My God, bro, it really brought back, memories. And man, that's why I wanted to make sure we put him over, bro, because you two together was so freaking entertaining, bro.
He actually works with so many big companies all over the West Coast. So he a lot of times arranges some of my bookings. I would say if there's one, duo in the business that still resembles kind of Paul Ellering and the Road Warriors today, it's myself and MK Bandit, because he really does. He handles my bookings. He gets me the best travel. He gets me the best hotels. It's almost like a shoot manager gig. But then we work together. We have unbelievable chemistry. I see he always wears those sunglasses, and it just reminds me of the Grand Wizard. I think of the Grand Wizard every time I see him, because I think there's a certain amount of art to be able to be expressive while you still have sunglasses on. Yeah. He can pull it. So I love working with him. He's one of my best friends on the planet. And he's great at what he does.
And you know what? I loved what you did that night, bro. God, man, I love this so much. And it was such a little thing, but it was such a huge thing. I got to tell you, Sam, my last 5 years at TNA, I saw the business change before my very eyes, because what I was seeing backstage, bro, was all day long. This is what the wrestlers were doing. You ready, bro? They're memorizing spots. So now, bro, as the writer, I know, bro, if you're memorizing 25 spots during your match, guess what's the first thing that goes out the window? The character. The character goes out the window because, bro, every character reacts differently, sells differently, acts differently. If you're memorizing your spots, your character's going out the window. So what that equates to is now all of a sudden, bro, we have a show full of wrestlers and there are no characters. Bro, this is a long time ago I started seeing this, okay? Here's another thing that happens, Sam. Here's another thing. Because we're memorizing the spots, we are deaf to the audience. We are not reacting to the audience. We got to remember your spot, remember a spot. Everything else is blanked out. The thing that blew me away that night with you, bro, is not only were you playing off the crowd, bro, you were replying to certain people in the crowd. So that was telling me, bro, not only is this guy listening to the crowd and reacting and playing off of the crowd, bro, he's hearing individual voices. Bro, that freaking blew me away because that does not happen today.
I don't know what to tell you, man, other than the fact that I'm not a fan of professional wrestling in 2019. It's not wrestling. I don't like it. I don't watch it. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not professional wrestling. I would rather watch a boring, Stan the Man Stasiak against Bruno Sammartino from 1978. Just something about it, something changed along the ways, and it's not wrestling.
Right.
And I say that the best I can because there's still so much talent out there. There's still people that have the experience. That's a very, very difficult thing to say because I'm sure so many people will hate me for saying it. But that being said, I try to be the doppelganger, or the throwback, if you will. I can't change wrestling. I can be the best version of me. I can be the one guy on the show that you said, he reminds me of somebody I would have seen wrestling The Rock in 99. Oh, I could imagine him against Taz in ECW in 97. I think a good wrestler is somebody that you can take out of any era and place him in another era, and he would, succeed. And that can be said about all the greats. You can imagine Austin in WWF in 99 would have been just as good in 1983 in Memphis with Lawler. That character is almost omniscient. They could pop all around. That's what I try to be. I try to give them back, as much of a throwback as I can. And it's almost easier now because I can't do 3,000 front flips. I'm not a gymnast. So I can't do that. How do I entertain you? I'd be a goofball. I'm a character. I'm somebody that's, I entertain you in other ways. So I don't know. I don't know how I learned it or why I learned it, but I know it's the way it used to be, and it's what I love about wrestling. So I still try to keep pushing that forward.
I was sitting here the other day, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this. I'm watching all this stuff, and guys, near committing suicide in the ring and all this crazy shit. And I'm sitting here, bro, and I'm saying to myself, bro, whatever happened to the step over toe hold? Bro, can we just do the step over? Can somebody do the step over toe hold once, bro?
This is something that drives me nuts. There's it never stopped working.
That's somehow, what I say. That's somehow, what I say.
I look at, and again, you were there. These guys. A lot of them are my friend now, and I worked in Mexico, for God's sakes. Wrestling is. There's always been the fast-paced stuff. There's always been the agility stuff, but that was almost a replacement for the guys that didn't have characters. That was something that we can't get over. I guarantee Malenko and Guerrero probably said, we're not going to get the same opportunity that Hogan and Nash are going to get, to slow it down and tell a story with them. We have to impress these guys by showing them we're the best damn workers on this show, because they were unbelievable. However, the old school step over toe hold, work the wrist, look at the camera, scream, shout up to the fan. That never stopped working.
That's what I say.
The only thing is, somehow everybody that got in the business since 2002, they said, we want to be like Malenko and Guerrero. Maybe it's not even that they want to be like that. Maybe they don't, see themselves being a Kevin Nash or a Hulk Hogan or a Randy Savage. Maybe it's harder for these introverts to become larger than life superstars. So they say, well, hey, instead of, trying to work on our characters, let's work on becoming the best wrestlers on the show. And maybe that's, that might be the case. But luckily, I've been a little ham since I was 2 years old. I've had the character. I've been able to, talk with anybody, and I'm an animated human being. To me, naturally, going the route of character made more sense. And since I've traveled, since I've, worked around the world, I've learned that, old school, just work in the crowd is always 100% of the time going to get a better reaction than doing cool moves.
Well, bro, here's the bottom line, bro. You're going to run out of moves. You're going to run out of moves. There's only so much you could do. And as you continue to play a game of, can I top this? You're putting yourself more and more and more in danger. Bro, it never ends with a character. You keep reinventing yourself. And look at Chris Jericho, bro. You keep reinventing yourself. You're here in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. There's no end for a character.
What's funny is when I got my opportunity in Mexico, I was actually excited because I was thinking, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to remember spots. I can't remember like other wrestlers can. I can't plan it. I forget because I'm too busy, answering back to the lady in the front row.
Right.
So I got to Mexico and I couldn't remember these spots. So I would just go wing it and kick it and just, do what we do, get working. And I actually got over with the main eventers that way because that's what they do. they just kick it. They're just gimmicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So as an entry level, they say, yeah, I want to work with that guy. He gets good heat, and literally, I was in Mexico. My debut in Arena Mexico was a main event on a Friday night show in front of, about 8,000 people. And it was one of those things where, how is it that, people in a different language can get it more so than somebody,
because
why is it?
You know why? Here's why. You make it easy. And it's supposed to be easy. It's a work. It's supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be hard, bro.
Well, when I was in there with some of the big stars and they're forgetting their spots, I started feeling better about myself as a worker. Yeah. Because I'll go to a show, an indie show, where they, somebody says, well, what the hell is Sam Adonis? He doesn't do anything. Why is he on this show? And then I'm wrestling, legends of Mexican wrestling that don't want me to do anything. And I think I'm okay, so it's a weird business. I think it's so far different from what it used to be. I think, we have the opportunity every night we're out there to tell a story and get people in the feels, get them in the heart. We have the chance every time we lace up our boots to have Game 7 of the World Series. Mm-hmm. And that has been replaced with people wanting to be the home run derby. They just want to go out and show you an exhibition. And some people might like the home run derby more than they do the rest of the year. But it doesn't hit you in the feels. It doesn't give you that same emotional. It might, it's an ooh, ah, but you don't remember every single year. After all you remember is who won, and after 2 or 3 years, you probably, who won the home run derby in 2007? Who won the home run derby in 1998? These are questions that 90% of baseball fans do not remember. But if you ask them who won the 1972 World Series, who won the 76 World Series, they remember, because that deep emotional investment is something that they can, hold on to and carry with them. We have that opportunity to manipulate the fans and get them on an emotional roller coaster. So why wouldn't we take advantage of that through, a moral struggle, good guy versus bad guy? It's always going to work better than, hey, look at this.
Yeah, it never stopped working. Like you said, bro, I say that all the time. Why did you try to fix something that wasn't broken?
Exactly. It never stopped.
When did it break? Show me the time show me the spot where it broke.
And another thing that's frustrating to me is, why does nobody study the guys that made the most money? We study how many guys, and I hate saying names because, somebody takes it out of context, but there's fantastic wrestlers that people study and say, oh, I was watching this guy's match, watching this guy's match. Well, this guy has never gone on, past being the WCW television champion or beyond being, a mid-carder at the Garden. Why aren't we studying Hogan? Why is nobody studying Hogan and his facials?
The majority, Sam, you are a businessman. Your brand is Sam Adonis. You are going to make as much money from that brand as you can. Unfortunately, bro, the majority don't look at it as a business. And they don't look at it, the money. They don't look at the longevity. They look at it that, oh, we love to get in this ring and flip-flop around. Bro, go for it. Go for it. But you're only going to be able to do that for so long. Like, bro, I got to tell you, and I'm sure you are going to be very flattered by this, and you should be. Bro, do you know when I saw you work and everything else like this, bro, you know who I thought of? You reminded me a lot of superstar Billy Graham.
That's a hell of a compliment.
That's a hell of a lot, bro. But that's where I made the connection. Bro, when I see all these guys high spotting, I'm not connecting them to anybody, bro.
Right. It is. It's a form of flattery, tributing back to I guess who made you love the sport. And I understand it because I'm guilty of it. But my love was the superstar Billy Grahams, the Hulk Hogans, the Steve Austins, the Ric Flair, Rick Rude. So I'm a bit of a homage to all that. The problem is, so many of these guys are throwing back their homage to a mid-carder. Oh, hey, you really need to watch Pete Roberts from World of Sport in 1981. I mean, fantastic worker, but that product is not going to sell to a mass audience in 2019.
Yeah.
So, I think everybody, kind of, they follow suit. it's amazing to me though. Once it's almost like a light bulb going off in somebody's head, because I do plenty of these seminars when I travel around the country. And when I explain to someone, hey guys, you don't have to remember anything. It's fun and it's easier when you just work, when you just work the crowd. Safer.
Yes.
And they're like, well, why didn't anyone ever tell us that? And I'm like, because nobody knows. there's 10 years of, trainees being trained by wrestlers that have never made a dollar in this business. You know, the blind have led the blind. And now, it's such a far-fetched stretch of what the pro wrestling business is supposed to be. But, luckily I can still stay busy and I still love it. I still do. Honestly, I don't watch anything that happened after, let's say, 2001. Yeah. I still love wrestling from 2001 back to, I even watched wrestling champions from Chicago in the 60s with, Dory Dixon. And I love old wrestling more than anything.
You threw out there earlier in the conversation, see, these things don't go past me. You threw out Stan the Man Stasiak. Now, are you thinking of bringing back the Heart Punch, bro?
I mean, maybe. I feel like that's honestly, that I think this is why I love old wrestling, because everything I do is taken somewhere in a timeline of history. Let's say, for instance, you have to, if you're going to analyze the Heart Punch, you have to say, okay, the Heart Punch, great move, but we now have WebMD. So you can Google, if you get punched in the heart, will you really collapse? Right. Now we have answers. We just have to be a step smarter than the fans that are going to Google these things. Right. So maybe, not have a heart punch, but maybe see if there's any other pressure point that actually will drop you. Let's find that. Let's create it. There's so many things we can do. Wrestlers almost have, people blame the death of kayfabe and all this and the internet on why wrestling isn't wrestling anymore. And it's bullshit. Yep. We just have to stay a step ahead of the game. That's right. And I think Twitter has been the most fumbled disaster for the wrestling business because everybody goes into business for themselves instead of for their character, for their wrestling company. Amen. I mean, Twitter since day one could have been kayfabed. Twitter since day one could have been personalized to the point where, oh, did you hear about, because look now, as soon as somebody calls out someone on Twitter, it's on the dirt sheets, it's everywhere. You know, if I was in charge of some company, I would have everybody calling out everybody all the time to the point where you don't know what to shoot, what to work. And next thing you know, you're drawing big money because of Twitter beef. So the fact is that, when these WWE stars or any wrestlers for that matter are disconnecting their wrestling name from their personal name because they want to get their personal brand stronger so they can move on to opportunities, it's selfishness. It's biting the hand that feeds, and a lot of people forget that, you get back out of wrestling what you put into it. If you love it with your heart, you're gonna get it all out. You're gonna make the millions. You're gonna get it all. Yeah. But when you just try to abuse it and use it, there's a shelf life, and maybe it's not for you. Maybe I'm just dumber than everyone, and I care too much. But I think professional wrestling, when done right, and I think right now in 2019, done right is the smallest 0.5% of all that's out there. I agree. When done right, professional wrestling is magic. There's nothing else like it. We're live action ballet, where we control your emotions through the story of sport. There is nothing like it. And I think if the American public knew how complex and deep it was, it would be regarded highly as an art. But 90% of the wrestlers don't even know what the hell it is. So how are we going to convey that image to the American public? Yeah.
Now, Sam, you've been telling me in private conversations and stuff, are you going to start running your own shows, bro? Is that what you're working towards in Pittsburgh?
I do. I've been having some shows in Pittsburgh, which are unbelievable. It's my vision of what wrestling is. It's basically what you would have seen in the Madison Square Garden in the 70s, mixed with a modern crowd. It's standing room only. We got a beer sponsor. We got the lights, cameras, action, fancy. It's updated wrestling. It's not different. We're not trying to fit in. And my whole thing is I like to appeal to non-wrestling fans. Yeah. I like to appeal to, nothing is more embarrassing to me than when I came home to Pittsburgh from Mexico and I would tell my friends like, hey, come see me wrestle, and they'd have to sit through a 3-hour show of skinny little nerds in kick pads, flipping around with no emotional investment. and they have to wait for it to see me. You know, they might say, okay, cool, it was nice to see you, but that show wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I decided, okay, if I'm home now, you know, I have a ring, I have the license, I'm going to run these shows, and I want every one of my friends that doesn't like wrestling to come and have a blast.
Right.
And you would be surprised, you know, the steam we're rolling with here. You know, we're already getting big sponsors. Iron City Beer is one of the biggest sponsors in Pittsburgh. They sponsor the Pirates and Penguins and Steelers. They're working with me. I got a waterproofing company. I got a tattoo shop. Like, you know, again, sponsors, selling, you creating an actual presentation as opposed to just, you know, running shows because I need to be the champion. Yeah. So,
well, Sam, where can people follow you? Where can promoters find you, bro? Give everybody all that information.
I'm always on my Instagram and Twitter at Real Sam Adonis. I travel all over the United States. I could probably say I'm the busiest guy that most people have never heard of. Every weekend I'm in different cities, so following the social media will find me. I do stuff for All Japan Pro Wrestling all the time, which is a pretty, you know, big deal in my eyes. So I'm out there. You know, people need to just want to find me. And again, you know, touching on what we touched on earlier. You know, I screwed up once or twice, just like anybody has. I would never want anyone to hold it against me and miss out on, you know, what I can deliver the wrestling industry. Hopefully, you know, some people, hopefully I get some followers out of this and people, you know, that really like the old school style of wrestling. And if I've offended anybody today for my views on professional wrestling, I'm sorry. I like old wrestling, not new wrestling. And maybe I'm just a terrible human being on the inside. So sorry about that, Vince.
Now, Sam, one last question. You told me last night you kind of put this, you kind of had to put the interview, you put it back a couple hours. You say, you know, you work out, you know, with your girlfriend daily and stuff like this. Bro, I've been married for 36 years. So, like, I got to live vicariously through people like you. Bro, you probably, the way you are and the way you carry, bro, you probably got a smoking hot girlfriend. Can you tell me a little bit? Smoking?
She's pretty badass, yeah. Bleach blonde, tan as can be, fitness girl. So she's pretty beautiful. And one of these days you might meet her. So one of these days we'll get you up to Pittsburgh.
Next time we get together like this, maybe she makes a cameo.
Yeah, perfect. That works.
Is she in the business, bro?
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe in some capacity.
Interesting.
She may or may not be on national TV. So who knows?
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Well, Sam, listen, bro, you won me over in one night, bro. That is an absolute shoot. You know, as a performer, as a human being, I am your biggest fan, bro. I want to do my best to get the name out there, let everybody see you because, bro, you are money. Like you
I appreciate that.
I say that very rarely these days, bro. Very rarely. You are freaking money, bro.
Well, I appreciate that. Then just keep tweeting my brother. See what we can get you on his TV show,
bro. Because he put that out there, and everybody's telling him, bro, interview Russo. If you're not a WWE shill, interview. Everybody's throwing it at him. Or I would love that conversation with him, bro.
That'll be the hard question that gets cut from the broadcast. So we'll see.
But bro, listen to me. Bottom line is, who was it? Was it the Pedro Brett thing? Somebody said, bro, you can't hold talent down. You can't.
Yep.
You can't.
Yep. Those words have helped me since I've read his book. You know, I read Brett's book probably in about 2012, maybe. And like literally, you know, we all go through our ups and downs, but those exact words, you know, they mean a lot. So I live by them, and I'll never give up. So I'll be around for a while, whether you like it or not.
There he is, everybody. The great Sam Adonis. Follow him on Twitter. Check out his promotion. What's the name of the promotion again, bro?
WrestleRex.
Now, is there a separate website for that?
Just hashtag WrestleRex. We're going with the hashtag because it's just social media is its own thing now. But you know, the hashtags, they're way more valuable than people think they are. So you know, my social media has it all, and I mean, you'll find some pretty cool talent and gimmick and characters. Like I said, old school wrestling modernized for 2019 or 20 now, huh?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, bro. All right, guys, there you have it. The great Sam Adonis. We will be seeing this guy, bro. I guarantee you we will be seeing him on the big stage because he has earned it. That is it, everybody. Brand, I will see you next time. Same bat channel.